At this time, I would like to introduce our first speaker, unless you want some more magenta and blue. Mr. Vacante's speech today is entitled Basic Nonsense. Mr. Vacante, would you come forward, please?
Thank you again, Mr. Gillespie, and good afternoon again, everyone. I think Dave and Kelvin, and perhaps anyone else familiar with programming a computer? Actually programming a computer? Anyone? Okay, have you ever written a spreadsheet? Anybody written spreadsheets? Okay, well this is sort of along the same lines. I have written a very basic program on this board here. And BASIC is a kind of program language. It's an acronym, all BASIC, all in capital letters. This program runs like this. The program runs in progressive numbers, 1, 10, 20, 100. And the computer reads this and follows the program so that it performs the function of the programmer. Line number 1, CLS, means to clear the screen. Line number 10, print, quote, happy birthday, space, unquote, semicolon. Line 20, go to 10. It'll go back up there. Line 100, end. If this program, if someone hits the F2 key and runs the program, it would print the words happy birthday over and over and over and over until someone stopped it. Line 1 clears the screen out from anything else that's there. Line 10 prints happy birthday with a space between the two printings of the word. The semicolon tells the computer print the first happy birthday right after the second after the first. Line 20 tells it to go back to 10. This is a really basic program. There are 39 characters, 8 numbers, 28 letters, and 3 symbols up there. If I were to take all 39 of these characters and pick them randomly and put them into the computer in random order, what kind of program would run? Anything? Or would the computer immediately crash? It would crash. What about if through some error, line 20 said, instead of go to line 10, go to line 1. It would print happy birthday once, leave a space, go to line 20, which would say go to 1, it would clear the screen and print happy birthday only one time. And so there would only be one happy birthday up there. If through some error it said go to line 100, it would end. And there would only be one happy birthday. My whole mission would fail. The program would not run as I designed it. If it said go to line 1000, it would crash because there is no line 1000. I say all of that to say this. DNA is programming. It's not electronic programming. It's genetic programming. It's why we're here. It's how we're here. It's how we got here. It determines every detail about us. Now, Charles Darwin, back in the 1800s, in developing his theory, identified a single-celled organism as the first form of life that developed on its own. Of course, you're not going to go to a multi-celled creature. You're going to go to a simple, quote-unquote, simple form of single-cell organism. The problem comes in that in the amoeba, for example, which is a single-celled organism, the DNA of the amoeba, if it were committed to writing, would fill 2,000 complete sets of the 30-volume Encyclopedia Britannica. That's the simple-celled DNA. In order for that amoeba to live and take in food and move and do everything it does to remain alive and produce new amoeba, there are 6 million pages of text in that DNA. If one of them, according to this program, look what happened with this simple 39-digit program. You get one part wrong with just one thing, and it doesn't run. So in the amoeba, what are we looking at? What are we talking about? And Darwin identified mistakes in the programming as how we continue to develop. That's what evolution is all about. Mutations. Mistakes in programming is how the amoeba got better and better and better. Did my program get better when I erased a zero or added a zero? No, it didn't work the way I wanted it to work. It didn't say happy birthday over and over again. That's what I designed it to do. So if you're working with a one-cell organism with 6 million pages of DNA, what about the human body? We're supposed to understand that through millions of years of mistakes in programming, in the genetic programming, we finally arrived here as human beings. Let's look at the human body. The adult body is made up of 100 trillion cells. 100 trillion cells in order for us to live, in order for us to function, in order for us to do everything we do. We have 206 bones, 600 muscles, 22 internal organs. And what about the systems? What about the systems in our body that all function together to keep us alive, drawing our next breath and living to see that next day? There's the circulatory system, the respiratory system, the immune system, the skeletal system, the excretory system, the urinary system, the muscular system, the endocrine system, the digestive system, the nervous system, and the reproductive system. These are all accidents. These are all the results of millions of years of mistakes in programming. Does that make any sense? Let's just look at the circulatory system. Every one of those 100 trillion cells have to be fed. So the heart has to pump blood with oxygen that we breathe in to every one of those cells in order to feed it and keep it alive. In order to do that, our DNA has enabled us to have a circulatory system to get to all of those cells. The combined length of all of the arteries, all of the veins, and all of our capillaries run anywhere between 60,000 and 100,000 miles per body. This is just off the scale, unbelievable. And I'm supposed to understand that this was all a happy accident. We're here because of the mistakes that created all of these systems and a 100,000-mile circulatory system. And I haven't even touched on the brain. I haven't even mentioned three-dimensional, full-color, stereoscopic vision of two eyes that were also the results of mistakes in programming. This is basic nonsense that this could have come about on its own. All of this is said to have developed over time, not only with zero design, not only with zero direction, not only with zero purpose, but it also came about as the result of a continuous series of DNA errors called mutations. And when a DNA error happens to a baby, we call that a birth defect. Did you ever hear a doctor happily tell his expectant mother patient, "Good news, Mrs. Jones, your baby's going to have a birth defect. He's going to be better than all the other babies in the hospital with no birth defects"? Has that conversation ever taken place? I don't think so. But we're to understand that over 1 million years or so, some goo-gob number that comes up, these randomly generated birth defects actually yielded the incredible flesh and blood machinery that we call the human body that we live in. It was all just a big happy accident. That's all it was. And these facts that I gave you today, and they are facts. I didn't invent these. This is not a once upon a time deal. These are scientific facts that I gave you. These facts are the information that the courts continually strike down when various proponents try to introduce these facts into the public schools. And they say, "Oh, you can't teach that stuff in here. That's religion. God has no place in this building in the public school." Okay? I ask you, anybody raise your hand. Which God did I name? Was it Allah? Vishnu? Who? Who did I name? Did I give you a day to worship on? Did I tell you you have to worship on Friday with the Muslims? On Saturday with the Jews and the Seventh-day Adventists? How about on Sunday with the Christians? I haven't named any gods. Have I named any gods? Did I introduce religion into this room? What was the chapter and verse that I quoted? Out of which holy book? I gave you nothing but scientific facts. And the courts say, oh, that's just a Trojan horse. You're trying to sneak God back into the schools. No. We're trying to give our kids scientific information to see what is available scientifically to determine how did we get here. Now, let me ask you a question. When a fire inspector shows up at a burned down house, does he have to name the arsonist in order to rightly identify the fact that that fire was the result of arson? Is he politically motivated by saying it was arson and not being able to name someone? The proponents of intelligent design, or creationism, I'll say the word, creationism, those proponents never say you have to worship any particular God. All they say is that we did not get here as a result of that basic nonsense that you're teaching. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McConnell.